The honourable member for Bruce-Grey-Owen Sound.
Thanks, Madam Speaker. I'm here tonight to follow up on a question I asked the Minister of Seniors a few weeks ago, and I make a note that I actually represent one of the oldest ridings in Ontario demographically, and so here's the question I asked the Minister of Seniors. I'm looking forward to her response tonight. Massive Liberal deficits have caused 40-year high inflation, resulting in major increases in the cost of living. I have many seniors in my riding, like Kathy, who at 68 years of age has had to go back to work in order to pay for utilities, food, and make her mortgage payments. As well, a disabled constituent emailed me a few weeks ago indicating she's down to 1 meal per day due to inflation and gas prices, and in her words, is contemplating applying for assisted death instead of starving to death. So my question to the Minister tonight, Madam Speaker, is what is the government doing for seniors 65 to 74, and will the Liberals stop punishing them and cancel all tax increases on gas, groceries, and home heating? Unfortunately, when the Minister replied to me a few weeks ago, Madam Speaker, she focused more on attacking the previous government. She seemed to have forgot that the Liberals have been in power for 7 years, going on the better part of a decade, and that my question is about specifically what actions they're taking now and moving into the future. So it's just simple. I want to understand what the Liberal government's doing for those seniors 65 to 74 and give me a list of concrete measures that support those in that demographic. And secondly, will the government stop punishing seniors, especially those living with disabilities, by committing to no new tax increases on gas, groceries, and home heating? But let me just use, not my words, Madam Speaker, but the words of my constituents. Here's some of the emails that I've received over the last 6 months or so. Back in June, quote, once again, the Finance Minister has forgot about seniors 65 to 74. Do they want us to go back to work? Unquote. Another email in June, in an email that was sent to the Prime Minister and a number of cabinet ministers. Quote, it appears now that I am a member of the second-class Senior Citizens Club, as I am in the age group of 65 to 74. Not 75, age 75 and older are going to get a 10% increase in their OAS. I am not. Why are we in the 65 to 74 age group being discriminated based on age and not getting this 10% increase? Unquote. Another email in September, and this is actually part of an official from the Minister's Seniors Department reply to one of these seniors asking the government directly, replying to a senior. Quote, in July of 2022, the maximum OAS pension increased by a whole $18.16, unquote. My constituent replied to the official with this, quote, it does, however, provide little solace to the many Canadian seniors who are struggling with high rates of inflation. I was hoping for some concrete new measures to be brought forward to assist the seniors who I know that continually struggle with their finances in light of the recent increases in inflation, unquote. Another email in October. Quote, ages 75 plus received an increase. Why us, age 65 and older, received zero? Why are we being neglected? We face high cost of living and expenses also. We appear to have been forgotten about, neglected, and treated as unimportant by the Liberal government. This is unfair, unquote. And finally, just in November, we as seniors on fixed income are feeling the pinch with extra costs for pretty much everything, unquote. Madam Speaker, food bank increases across this country are up for seniors. We got seniors having to refinance or remortgage their houses and their property in order to pay and live in this country, and it's unacceptable. So in conclusion, Madam Speaker, what is the Liberal government doing to help seniors, especially those 65 to 74 and those living with disabilities, to eat, heat, and live so that they're not turning to medical assistance and dying as a solution? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm glad to be addressing a large variety of topics this evening. Our government understands that elevated global inflation we are experiencing is a major issue for all Canadians, including seniors, and that many are struggling to make ends meet. There are higher food and energy costs due to the Russian invasion in Ukraine, as well as longer-lasting impacts from supply chain disruptions due to the pandemic. That said, I'm sure the member for Bruce-Grey-Owen Sound has noted that inflation is decelerating in Canada. It was 8.1% in June. It is now at 6.9%. This is lower than the United States at 7.7, the United Kingdom at 11.1, and the Euro area at 10.6. Still, inflation at 6.9% in Canada is high and we know that Canadians are experiencing higher costs of living when they go to the grocery store, when they fill their tanks, and when they pay their rent. This is why our government is supporting Canadians who are affected the most by inflation. For example, we doubled the GST credit for 6 months, and I thank my friend opposite who gave the speech for supporting that particular measure. This will deliver $2.5 billion in additional targeted support for roughly 11 million households, and interestingly enough, over 50% of our seniors in Canada, those that need it the most, will benefit from this particular measure. I'm certain my friend opposite will agree with me when I say that Canada owes our seniors a great deal, which is why our government takes retirement security so seriously. It is also why I get nervous when the Conservative Party of Canada repeatedly asks for us to reduce costs of government by shrinking the future pension benefits for seniors. It is simply not a responsible policy. On the other hand, we think it is very important that the Canada Pension Plan, the Old Age Security Pension, and the Guaranteed Income Supplement continues to be indexed to the Consumer Price Index. This means that seniors do not have to worry about the value of their benefits keeping pace with inflation, because as costs increase, so will their benefits. This is very helpful for seniors, especially if they are on a fixed income. Small changes in income can make a big difference. That is why the Conservative plan to increase the age of eligibility for OAS and GIS from 65 to 67 was so harmful. It literally took thousands and thousands of dollars away from seniors right when they needed it the most. Fortunately, our government reversed these measures that were introduced by the Conservatives, and Canadians can count on receiving their benefits at 65 as previously promised. We also increased the maximum GIS benefit for single seniors aged 65 and more who needed extra help, and we permanently increased the old age security pension by 10% for seniors 75 of age and older, and that will be waiting there for all of us when we get to that age, Madam Speaker. This means increased benefits for more than 3 million seniors and more than $800 in new support for full pensioners over the first year. Madam Speaker, this is in addition to numerous programs that support seniors and our healthcare system right across the country. While there is still more work to do, Canadians should know that there are 25% less seniors living in poverty today than when we took office in 2015. I think that is a trend that we can all support in this House and that every party can support, and I look forward to working with the member opposite to do even more to support our seniors and to further strengthen retirement security for future generations of Canadians. Thank you, Madam.
The honourable member for Bruce-Grey-Owen Sound.
Thanks, Madam Speaker. The Parliamentary Secretary didn't really answer any of my questions. He talked about a GST rebate that we did support on this side of the House that's going to all Canadians that are in that low-income tax bracket that receive it, but it's not specific to those 65 to 74, and that's really the focus and crux of my question. What is the government doing for that specific demographic, those with disabilities? And as well, I appreciate if the member didn't mislead the House, mislead Canadians talking about Conservatives calling for, gutting the CPP program. That is not the case at all. We've asked to freeze the premium increases. If the member could answer another question, does that money of those premium CPP increases go into the CPP fund or into general coffers? It's one thing if it was being protected, but the fact of the matter is it's going into general coffers being spent on a bunch of other things. He talked about the OAS increases for those 75 and older, $18.16. So again, Madam Speaker, what's the government doing?
Secretary.
Happy to address those particular questions, Madam Speaker. We are focused on making life more affordable, especially for our seniors. I think the point of talking about the GST benefit was pointing out the specific point that while it's going to 11 million households, disproportionately the seniors that need that benefit are getting it. In fact, over 50% of seniors in Canada are getting it. I also talked about how OAS, GIS, and other important benefits are all indexed to inflation. And you get that at whatever age you are when you're collecting that. So as people are dealing with the price of gas going up, the price of food going up at the grocery store, they can trust that those benefits are in fact going up as well. And when it comes to CPP, if you are putting forward a policy that is reducing the benefits that are going into CPP, then you are putting at risk the future benefits that we worked so hard with premiers all across the country to put in place so that we could increase future pensions by up to almost 50%, Madam Speaker.